everybody. Welcome back to the latest edition of the Fargo Force Show. Joining us this week is Force forward Blake Lizotte, second year with the Fargo Force. Talk to me about just differences between first year and second year for you and how much more comfortable you are this year with the Force.
I think being in your second year in the league, it's definitely more confidence out there. There's not really any surprises going into each building every night, so it's definitely a comforting feeling and gives you more confidence.
Well, this is pretty a good week because Blake happens to be the USHL co-forward of the week. In 2 wins last weekend against the opponents, Blake had a goal and 2 assists, and then another goal and an assist in the other game, 2 Force wins. I want to talk to you about kind of your comparison between this year and last year. I want to take a look at a board of some stats here in this year comparing last season. You played 54 games, had 46 points, and your plus minus was 13. This year you've upped it. You haven't played as many games yet, but your numbers of goals are bigger, assists are higher, points are higher, and your plus minus really key there, 24-2. Talk to me just about how you've improved your game and the numbers behind those numbers right there and why that's maybe been the case, why you've been able to improve.
I think a year of growth over the summer, you obviously get physically stronger and training all summer obviously helps. And I think this year our team is stronger as a team, so I think that helps as well with plus minus and also points. And also I'm playing with some great line mates this year, Jack Adams and Hank Crone, so both of them are unbelievable players. I think that's contributed to a lot of my success as well.
Now, as we look at that board again, too, USHL ranks, you're tied for second in points with your teammate Jack Adams at 51 points, second in assists in the entire USHL with 38, and your plus minus, as we saw, that's tied for third in the entire USHL. On the Force, you're even better. First in assists, first in plus minus, tied for first in shorthanded goals, and you're second in points right there, too. So just a fantastic season. As you look back, Blake, you still have 10 games to go left in this season, but as you look back, could you have imagined having a better season? I mean, you started out maybe a little slower than you wanted, at least from a goal-scoring standpoint. But right now, as you sit right now, how pleased with you are you from an individual standpoint and then also as it's tied into the team's success as well?
Obviously, I'm pretty happy. If you told me we were at this point and, in September, I'd be thrilled. Personally and as a team, I think our team is in a big playoff push right now, sitting in that 4th spot. And I think these last 10 games are going to be a dogfight to get in that 4th or 3rd spot, and I'm looking forward to it.
You are one of the top assist guy in the league as well. Has that been something that you've always been able to see, kind of a guy that sees the ice well, can make those passes maybe that some other guys can't make? Has that always been a part of your game? Or has that only come on maybe in the last few years as you've gotten better and more experience in the USHL?
It's definitely always been a part of my game. Ever since I was in squirts and Pee-wees, I've always been a pass-first type of player, and I think me creating chances for my line mates is what I do best, and I'm going to stick to it.
How about from a goal-scoring standpoint? Do you sometimes have to look for goals a little bit more instead of making that pass? Instead, especially in the second half of the season, your goals have been up a little bit, assists have been down. But has that been an emphasis for you? Looking, I need to score, I need to look for those chances a little bit more?
To grow my game, I've definitely tried to become a little more of a shooter. But at the end of the day, my natural ability is to pass. So I think I need to work on goal scoring for sure. But I think assists will always be a mainstay part of my game.
All right. Well, since our last show, the Force have played 4 games. They started out on the road. Let's take a look at how those first 2 road games went. Friday, March 3rd. And Saturday, March 4th at Tri-City. The Force get the win on March 3rd, 4-2. You had a goal along with Paul Washy, Graham and Crone there. But then the next night, the Tri-City team got you guys 4-3 in overtime. Interesting stat here. The Force are 0-4 in overtime this year. But you guys, if you get it to a shootout, you're 3-1. So I don't know really how to explain that. Goals in that loss by McMahon, Adams, and Graham there. And you guys did outshoot Tri-City in that one, 39-24. So a split there. Then the following weekend, Force back at home versus the worst team in the USHL, Cedar Rapids. The Force gave up just 14 shots on goal. Matt Murray came up with a big save right there. And then you guys, as you do against a struggling team, you should jump on them early. You capitalize on the turnover there with your 12th goal of the season. That was a shorty. 1-0 Force. Then 90 seconds later, Hank Crone to Jack Adams in front, redirects it in, 2-0 Force. Same period on the power play, Clayton Phillips shoots, and once again it's Adams deflecting it in just as he's done all year. Take another look. His 30th of the season, 3-0 after 1. Second period now, Paul Washy gets the nice pass from Grant Meyer and scores. That's his 13th of the season, 4-1 Force. And then later in the third, after a Rough Rider goal, Crone answers back. The great move, his 19th, 5-1. That would be your final. The Force dominated every aspect of this game. You outshot Cedar Rapids in this one, 37-14. Matt Murray just 13 saves. 2 days later, a rare Sunday evening game for the Force as you hosted rival Sioux Falls. The Force actually trailed 2-0 after 1, but then dominated from there in the second. Your initial shot is stopped, not controlled. Force poking at it, and eventually it's Hank Crone poking it in off the goalie's skate right there. Then 20 seconds later, Mark Senden finds the puck, carry him out to him, and he takes advantage. 2-2 early on in the second period. Instead of giving the momentum right back to Sioux Falls, Murray kept it with the Force, making these two nice saves. Big because late in the second, newly acquired Mitchell Chafee attacks, then drops it back for a diving to the net from Shane McMahon. A little hard to see until you watch the replay of the goal right there. 3-2 Force through 2 periods. Same score now late in the third. Our guest, Blake Lizotte, works, wheels, splits 2 defenders, and scores your 13th of the season. Great move there. 4-2. Hank Crone will add an empty netter, and the Force win it 5-2. 5 unanswered goals for the Force there. Matt Murray with 16 saves. And once again, you guys outshoot Sioux Falls by a huge margin, 46-18. The Force are now 6-0-1 in their last 8 games. Talk about how you've been playing lately, Blake. Especially, we talked about it before we taped, you guys have been outshooting teams by a large margin this season. Tell me a little bit what's behind that.
Coach Eads' systems are very aggressive. So like you said, obviously we're playing aggressive. We're going to create chances off that. We're also going to give up some grade A's. We're going to keep the shots low, but also the shots we do give up are going to be some good chances. But hopefully we can create more turnovers and give up grade A chances. All
right, with the Force's results there, let's take a look at the updated USHL standings. With just 10 games to go in the season for the Force, Sioux City still on top, but things are getting close. Waterloo second, and look at that race for the 3rd and 4th spot. The Force still in that 4th spot, as they have been for the past few weeks, but just 1 point out of that 3rd place playoff spot. And the margin between you guys and 5th place Lincoln, you're starting to get a little separation now. There's a 6-point margin there, so maybe you can start to feel the playoffs a little bit, Blake. Obviously, you don't want to look too far ahead, but I imagine you guys are kind of thinking, hey, that 3rd spot is right for our taking, maybe even 2nd still with 10 games left.
Definitely know this weekend we have Des Moines here at home, so it's obviously going to be a big series for 3rd or 4th place, but definitely, Lincoln is right there behind us, and each weekend is a dogfight, so, every weekend you need to win games.
And as we talked about before we taped here, every team in front of you guys, and you guys have been playing well, 6-0-2 in your last 8, but every team in front of you is playing as well, if not better. I mean, Sioux City is 9-1 in their last 10. Waterloo is 7-2-1 in their last 10, and Des Moines is 8-2-1 in their last 10. So it's not going to get any easier, is it?
Definitely not. Obviously, like you said, how close it is. Each team ahead of us is going on point streaks as well. So that's how much it takes to make playoffs in this league.
And not only have you guys added guys late in the season over these last 2 months, Coach Eads not been afraid to wheel and deal and add some different pieces, but everybody else has been adding too. So it's not like people are dropping out. Everybody's getting better, and it's kind of the way it should be as you head into this last stretch, isn't it?
Right, for sure. Each team, you obviously want to be playing your best hockey going into this end of the season stretch. So hopefully, we've made the right acquisitions to make our team play the best we've played all season. All
right, let's take a look at the Force upcoming schedule. You mentioned it a little bit, coming up with Des Moines here this next weekend at Shields Arena at home, 2 games against Des Moines. They're out just 1 point ahead of you, as we saw in the standings, 1 point ahead of you for 3rd in the conference. So big weekend series at Shields Arena. There you can always go to tickets at 364-3672 or fargoforest.com for those. And then the next week, you'll play 3 games. A Tuesday game at Sioux City. They're only the 1st place team in the conference, best team in the entire USHL. As we said, 9-1 in their last 10. And then that weekend on the 24th and 25th, you at Muskegon, Michigan. The only trip to Michigan there for that game, that series. They are 3rd in the Eastern Conference, 6-3-1 in their last 10. So very tough games coming up, but a chance to make some headway, especially when you're playing that team that's in front of you in Des Moines in this next weekend especially.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, like I said before, every weekend is huge, and I think playing divisional teams is even bigger, especially when they're ahead of you, so I'm looking forward to it.
How much fun has this been for you? I mean, last season came down to basically the last game of the season. You missed the playoffs by a point. It looks like things are looking good right now, and not putting the cart before the horse. But how much fun has it been for you and the guys this year to make that switch, to be in this race, to be playing so well, especially in these last couple of months?
I think anytime you're in that playoff hunt towards the end of the season, it's always a blast. And hopefully, obviously, last year didn't end the way we wanted it to. So hopefully this year we can improve and make the playoffs.
Does it give you a little bit of energy every time, every practice, every time you have to go to the ice, go to the rink? You get that little extra energy at this time of season. I imagine bodies are kind of tired, but knowing that you're in the playoff hunt and it's so much fun, does that give you a little extra boost every day?
Definitely. Obviously the season's such a long season with practice every day, and obviously this time of year is exciting. So I think having that little extra push is definitely nice at practice.
All right. Well, the Force are definitely playing some great hockey. We hope it can continue for the rest of the season. Just 10 games left in this USHL regular season. Blake, great job today. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right. That'll do it for this edition of the Fargo Force Show.